Hi everybody, welcome to another hour here on Verbling.com of English classes. In this hour we're going to be doing a reading class, and I put the link up already in the in the Verbling chat, and so I will put it also in the group chat when people start joining. If you want to join this class, hi Lucas. If you want to join this class, then you just click on the Join Class button. Hi there. Welcome. If you are a member of Verbling.com, you can always make a reservation for a class. Otherwise, if you don't make a reservation, then you can just show up to Verbling.com anytime and see what's happening and see if you want to take the class that is going on currently, or if you want to plan for one in the future. You can always look at the schedule. When you go to the classes page, you see what's happening live. So this is the class that's happening live right now. I think there's a Spanish class also going on. And if you want to take the class, then you can just click on the Join Class button if you're a member. If you're not a member, then you can watch the class live, or you can join Verbling.com, and then that way you get to take as many classes as you want. So this is going to be a reading class, and I chose an article today. Let's see, I forgot where I got this article from, but it's on Bloomberg, yes. Bloomberg.com is a pretty popular website, especially for business people, but they talk about lots of different things. So this is an interesting one in terms of a United States cultural topic, because I'm not sure that it happens in other countries, so it's definitely specific to the United States and the life of people in college. So if everybody wants to go there, I'll put it in the screen share so we can be looking at it together, because I want to talk a little bit about it before we start. And I'm just going to say hi to everybody. Hi, Walla.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Fine, thanks.
Good, welcome. And hi, Raphael, how are you doing?
Hi, Lisa, I'm fine, thank you, and you?
Good. Did you go running today?
Yes, yes.
All right. Good job.
Thanks.
Okay, and Mario.
Hi Lisa.
Bonjour. Salut.
Bonjour Lisa, ça va bien?
Oui, ça va, merci. Okay, long time no see.
Long time no see, yes.
Yes.
Yes,
you're
good
back.
to see.
Maybe
I'm back.
Good. All right, welcome. And Lucas, hi Lucas.
Hello, Lisa.
Have you had a good weekend?
Yes. And you?
Yes, good. I came to California. People were commenting because I'll show you. I'll put my picture back on because I have a new surrounding, and people noticed it in the last class, and it's because I'm at my mom's house, and she lives where I'm from, which is in Fresno, California, and that's in the middle of California. So compared to where I live now, which is in Washington, California is very sunny and pretty warm. It's in the 70s, which is like in the 20s, like 24, I think, or so, 23, 24, 25 Celsius. So that's pretty warm compared to, up in Washington right now. So I'm enjoying the sun. And my kids, they went swimming yesterday in the pool, so that was kind of crazy. But it was not warm in the pool, but they were enjoying themselves. They went between the pool and the hot tub, so that's good. And Jorge, is your microphone working now? Let's see.
I don't know. Tell me you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, good. It didn't work during the last class.
Yeah. It's my second day in Verbling, and I am still learning how it works.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Well, welcome to the reading class now. And Emmanuel, how are you doing?
Hello, teacher.
Hi.
Yep.
Emmanuel,
I'm fine. I'm ready to start.
Awesome. Where are you calling from?
I'm from Italy, but I live in the Netherlands.
Oh, okay. Do you live there for working or studying or something?
Studying. I'm a student.
Oh, cool. What are you studying there?
Music.
Music. Okay,
Yeah.
well you can tell us if this type of thing happens in the Netherlands.
I
what
don't
we're
think
going
so.
to read about. I don't
I
think
think
so.
it's typical American.
Yes, it
The
is.
American college.
Yes. Okay, and hi Kako. How are you? Kako, are you there?
Yes,
Hi there.
Lisa.
Hi there. Hi.
I'm fine. And you?
Good. I am doing well. Thank you. Okay, guys. We do have a couple of spaces open if anybody's out there in Verbling land watching and wants to join us. You can just click on the Join Class button and then click on the Verbling chat, and you'll get the link there. So I chose this article. It's interesting cultural topic, like I said. In the United States, you guys, probably from movies, you might be familiar with this term fraternities. Here's the actual article, and here's a picture. So this might look familiar. Maybe you guys have seen these kinds of flags or something. This represents different letters of the Greek alphabet, and these are the names of the fraternities and sororities that are on college and university campuses throughout the United States, especially at some of the like more expensive colleges where people have money and they're going. They usually have what we call fraternities, which is for men, and sorority houses, which are for women. So the idea of this is that a fraternity is a house where you live with other students during your college years. And some of these organizations have money, and sometimes you often pay a lot of money to be in them, but they're kind of exclusive, meaning they kind of choose you, and then they have this tradition of pledging. So when you first go to college, you're a freshman, that's your first year, and if you try to get in a fraternity or a sorority, you usually have to go through what's called like a pledge week, where the other students, the older students, are going to kind of test you and see what kind of a person you are. They also look at your grades and the things that you've done in your life to see if they want you to be a part of their group. And the reason why people want to be a part of fraternities is that it can be a good place to network, to meet new people, to network with people who are interested in studying and probably business or professional life, and it might be a good way for you to meet people that you will know for the rest of your life, because usually if you live in a fraternity, you get pretty close with your fraternity brothers or sorority sisters. So that's kind of the idea. But unfortunately, in the past few years, what has been known as hazing, which is kind of like a torture, some kind of crazy things they make you do, it has ended up with people dying or getting hurt. So of course that is not a good idea, and people have been protesting it and wanting these fraternities, especially the men. I don't think it happens really with the sororities too much, but especially with these young men doing crazy things and getting hurt or even dying, people have wanted them to stop. And it's not really good publicity either for their organization. So that's the background of this. You guys might be familiar with fraternity behavior from movies, American movies. Yeah, and I don't know if this happens anywhere else. I think, like Emanuele said, it's pretty typical American. But we'll read the article and maybe we'll have a little bit of time to discuss afterwards. And you'll learn something about the United States. All right, the deadliest U.S. fraternity abolishes pledging for new members. So deadliest, meaning they had the most deaths. This particular fraternity, and they are abolishing pledging. So that means they are making it obsolete. They're not going to do it anymore. To abolish means to get rid of it, to stop it. Sigma Alpha Epsilon, so these are the names of fraternities. They're Greek alphabet names, Greek letters. Sigma Alpha Epsilon, one of the largest U.S. fraternities and the deadliest, said it would ban pledging, citing the toll that hazing has taken on its recruits and its reputation. SAE, that's Sigma Alpha Epsilon, announced yesterday what it called a historic decision to eliminate pledging, typically a month-long induction period featuring secret rituals. During pledging, recruits have been subject to forced drinking, paddling, and other abuse. At least 10 deaths since 2006 have been linked to hazing, alcohol, or drugs at SAE events, more than at any other fraternity, according to data compiled by Bloomberg. All right, that's 2 paragraphs there. Let me see where we are here. Okay, why don't you start, Kako?
Sigma Alpha Epsilon, one of the largest U.S. fraternities and the deadliest, said it would ban pledging, citing the toll that hazing has taken on its recruits and its reputation. Continue.
Yes.
SAE announced yesterday what it called a historic decision to eliminate pledging, typically a months-long induction period featuring secret rituals. During pledging, recruits have been subject to forced drinking, paddling, and other abuse. At least 10 deaths since 2006 have been linked to hazing, alcohol, or drugs at SAE events, more than at any other fraternity, according to data compiled by Bloomberg.
Good. Okay, so a bunch of words here I want to go over. So I already went over fraternities. So fraternity is the group of guys, the house where the guys live. And the deadliest, so the most deadly, which means, unfortunately, that yes, people have died. The most people have died at this particular group. This is a fraternity that is present on many different campuses. So it's not just at one location, one university, but it's an organization throughout the United States, so on different campuses. They said they're going to ban pledging. So to ban something is the same kind of as abolishing. It means you're making it illegal. So the organization is telling their students who are living at these different fraternities, these houses, you can no longer pledge students or do hazing. So the pledging is when, you know, the people are trying to become members, and so they have to go through a process, and that process has become known as hazing. Hazing is specifically the bad stuff that they do, like trying to make them drink a lot of alcohol, or, you know, take their clothes off and run around campus, and, you know, and other things that are not just embarrassing things, but actually harmful to their health and to their actual body. So citing the toll. So when you cite, that's when you talk about. So they're talking about the toll. When something takes its toll, that's the expression here, the toll that has taken on, it means the results. So they've had negative results. So the toll that it has taken means that they've been injured or they've been actually died. So that's the result of some of these hazing activities on the recruits. The recruits refers to the freshmen who are trying to get into this fraternity. And of course, it's been bad for their reputation, which is what people think about them. Your reputation is what people know about you or think about you, what kind of person you are. So in this case, it's about their organization. So people are not thinking it's very good. So I was going to show this here so you guys get an idea. If you go to Google Images and you just search fraternity pledging, I didn't even search hazing, which is like worse, but you'll see kind of crazy pictures. This guy who got hit, maybe he hit him with a belt or something. This person, they're kind of, putting him in the showers and he's kind of tied up. There's other images of people, guys, in these fraternities doing crazy things to try to, get into this thing. So some guys here in their underwear, stuff like that. Some of it can be really wild and crazy, especially as you can imagine when they start involving drugs and alcohol, and yeah. So it kind of gets out of control pretty quickly, these guys. All right, so they announced, which means they said. So they said to the public that they're going to eliminate. Again, that's another word for abolish. So we have a couple of words: abolish, ban, and eliminate. All mean pretty much the same thing. They're going to stop allowing the pledging, which is usually a month-long induction period. So an introductory kind of period where they're, making these people do these secret rituals, these customs, and you're not supposed to know ahead of time what's going to happen. One of them is drinking alcohol, forced drinking, so drinking more than you actually want to drink, but you're supposed to be drinking more and more. That can actually kill you. Paddling, which is hitting somebody with a wooden stick or a paddle, we call that a paddle, on their bottom, and other types of abuse, like you saw in the picture, putting somebody in water or something like that. And so they've, where we got the article, Bloomberg, they compiled data. That means they brought together some data or information. You could say data or data. Either one is okay. So SAE becomes one of only a handful of about 75 national fraternities, and perhaps the most prominent, to eliminate pledging. The ban, which takes effect tomorrow, may spur broader change among Greek organizations, fraternity and college officials said. There have been more than 60 fraternity-related deaths since 2005. Many victims were freshman pledges, considered the most vulnerable because many are away from home for the first time. Okay, it's kind of scary. All right, Emmanuel.
Okay. SAE becomes one of only a handful of about 75 national fraternities, and perhaps the most prominent, to eliminate pledging. The ban, which takes effect tomorrow, may spur broader change among Greek organizations, fraternity and college officials say. There have been more than 60 fraternity-related deaths since 2005. Many victims were freshman pledges, considered the most vulnerable because many are away from home for the first time.
Okay. So, one of a handful. Handful just means, with your hand and what you can hold in your hand. But it's just a way to describe like a group or a bunch. So of about 75 national. So national means they're all across the United States. And the most prominent means the one that you see the most, is the most well-known, the most famous. So SAE becomes one of only a handful. So it's not very many. It's not very many out of the total. So just a handful is like 5 or 6 or 7 or something like that. But they are one of the most popular or the most well-known. So what that sentence is saying is that not everybody is doing this, but one of the most well-known organizations is doing it. So the ban, which takes effect, so to take effect means it starts tomorrow, may spur broader change. So it may help other people want to stop. To spur something on means like you kind of encourage other groups or other people to do something. So maybe this ban by this particular fraternity will encourage or spur change, broader change, bigger amounts of change across the fraternities, in these other Greek organizations. They don't really have anything to do with Greece, other than their maybe the history is from Greece, I don't know, but they're using the Greek alphabet. That's what they're doing. Let's see, there have been more than 60 fraternity related. So somehow in the last, almost 10 years, 60 people have died somehow related to the fraternity. Not always in the pledging or hazing necessarily, but that's a big part of it. And many of the victims, so those people who actually died, they were freshmen. So first year pledges, people who were pledging to try to get into this house, they were considered the most vulnerable. So that means, they were just away from home for the first time. They're not really a very equipped or very good at being responsible or, adult-like. They're probably drinking. So vulnerable means they're kind of weak and you can hurt them very easily. So that's what happened to those guys. This is a very big deal, said Brian Madison Jr., president of SAE's Alumni Association at Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana. The fraternity set a line in the sand. The students will have to adapt and change. Alcohol training. Under the new plan, SAE chapters will still recruit new members and extend them a bid or invitation to join. Students accepting the bid will become full members almost immediately. All SAE members will be required to complete additional training, including alcohol education during their college years. Okay. Jorge, you want to read those? Right, starting from this is a very big deal and all the way to here.
Okay. This is a very big deal, said Brian Madison Jr., president of SAE's Alumni Association at Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana. The fraternity set a line in the sand. The students will have to adapt and change. Alcohol training. Under the new plan, SAE chapters will still recruit new members and extend them a bid or invitation to join. Students accepting the bid will become full members almost immediately. All SAE members will be required to complete additional training, including alcohol education during their college years.
Good. Okay. So when we describe something as a very big deal, so that's what that guy said. He's talking about this decision to stop doing the pledging. That's a very big deal. It means it's an important thing. It's an important decision. People are going to look at it as significant. So it's a very big deal. Alumni association. An alumni is a person who went to an organization like a university and graduated, and now we call them the alumni. So alumni association is like a group of people who went to that university. He says the fraternity set a line in the sand. So that's an expression. When you think of a sand and then you think of drawing a line in the sand, it means like you're not supposed to go beyond that. So it's like setting a limit. So the fraternity, the organization as a whole, they set this limit. They're going to tell all of their members, their students across the different campuses, you can no longer do this. You cannot do pledging. And so the students, some of them will agree or disagree, but they will have to adapt. So adapt means to change. You have to get used to something. If you're adapting to something, it's like you get used to it. If you move from the desert into a cold place, you have to adapt to the weather, for example. So you have to change and adapt to the new rules. One of the first rules that they're changing is this, alcohol training, so getting trained in like the dangers of drinking too much alcohol. Under the new plan, I know people are always trying to practice their prepositions here, so it's good to look out for them in the reading. Under the new plan, so that means according to the new plan. So what's written in the plan is that you can still recruit people. So the new members, they are called the recruits, and to recruit them means to get them. And they, if you have somebody you want to recruit, you can extend to that person, so extend them a bit, or you can invite them. That just means to invite them to join your organization. But if they accept it this time, it will be almost immediate that they're members. They don't have to go through that month-long of like torture and all these different rituals and things like that. That is no longer allowed. It's forbidden. It's banned. It's been abolished. Instead, all of the members are going to be required, so it's necessary, it's mandatory for them to complete. So they have to go through or finish some education on alcohol. In its statement, SAE lamented recent deaths and injuries and said the bad publicity it has recently received is challenging and regretful. In December, Bloomberg News reported that SAE brothers at Salisbury University in Maryland forced pledges in 2012 to drink, that means alcohol, until they almost passed out, dressed them in women's clothing and diapers, and ordered them to stand in their underwear in trash cans filled waist deep with ice. SAE members pay among the highest costs of any Greek organization for liability insurance. And universities suspended or closed at least 15 chapters within the past 3 years. Okay, so they were doing some crazy things. All right, Lucas.
In this statement, CAE
SAE.
SAE lamented recent deaths and injuries and said the bad publicity it has recently received is challenging and regretful. In December, Bloomberg News report that SAE brothers at Salisbury University in Maryland forced pledges in 2012 to drink until they almost passed out, dressed them in women's clothing and diapers, and ordered them to stand in their underwear in trash cans filled waist deep with ice. SAE members pay among the highest cost of any Greek organization for liability insurance, and universities suspended or closed at least 15 chapters within the past 3 years.
Good. So in its statement, so its is referring to the statement by SAE, so their statement or its statement, the organization's statement, they lamented. So when you lament something, that's the verb to lament. It means like you're saying sorry. You're sad about it, and so you're saying how sorry you are that this happened. You're lamenting something, being sad about it. So they're lamenting the recent deaths and injuries, people getting injured or hurt. And of course, the bad publicity. So when you get bad publicity, it's like in the news they're writing things about you, but it's negative. So of course, if somebody dies during this, that is bad publicity. It's not good for the organization to have students be doing these things to other students. So it's not good for the organization. They say that this bad publicity has been challenging and also regretful. So they're sorry about it. It's unfortunate. You could say that too. Unfortunate is what that also means. All right, so what happened is that they were forcing them. So to force somebody to do something is like you're telling them you have to do this. And of course, they're telling them you have to do this or else you won't get into the fraternity, which is what those people wanted. So they were kind of trusting these guys to, you know, not kill them basically, but they actually chose to listen to them. And of course they said okay, but they were drinking until they almost passed out. To pass out means like when you drink too much alcohol and then you like fall to the ground and then you're out, which means you're not like awake. You're out of it. You're like you're sleeping, but you're really passed out because you're drunk, so drunk. They put them in women's clothing and diapers. Diapers is what babies wear. You know, babies who don't use the potty yet, they wear diapers. And then they put them in trash cans that were filled to their waist. That means waist deep. So they filled up ice and then they had them standing all the way up to like their belly button is what waist deep means. So then they say that this organization, their members, so if you're a member you pay certain costs, they have to pay for liability insurance. When you buy liability insurance, it can be very expensive if you already have problems like this. So they paid a lot in the insurance, and it was so bad that even some universities suspended, which means they told them they couldn't do certain things. You know, if you're suspended from school, it means you can't come to class, or they closed at least 15 chapters. Chapters is the house. So each university has a chapter, perhaps, of that fraternity. They had to close them because they were so just, you can imagine, chaotic and wild, and they were doing these horrible things. In response, the head of the University of Maryland system and a state legislature called for tougher penalties for hazing. Famous alumni, SAE, based in Evanston, Illinois, has more than 240 chapters and 14,000 college members. Its alumni include Wall Street titans such as T. Boone Pickens, the Texas oil man turned investor, and hedge fund managers David Einhorn of Greenlight Capital and Paul Tudor Jones of Tudor Investment Corporation. Okay, Mario, in response.
Yeah, okay. In response, the head of the University of Maryland system and the state legislature called for tougher penalties for hazing. Famous alumni, SAE, based in Evanston, Illinois, has more than 240 chapters and 40,000 college members. Its alumni include Wall Street titans such as Steve Boone Pickens, the Texas oil man turned investor, and hedge fund manager David Einhorn of Greenlight Capital, and Paul Tudor Jones of Tudor's Investment Corp.
Good. So in response, so when you read that or you hear it, in response, it means this is what the person does or says after hearing about something like this. So their response to this problem here of hazing was that the head of, so like kind of like the dean or the president of the university, he called for. So to call for means like he demands. He wants tougher penalties for hazing. So he is not calling for it to be abolished necessarily, but he called for people to get in trouble more. So to have tougher or more strict penalties for these problems. So he wanted something to happen. They're just, I don't know, they included famous alumni. So I think they're trying to show that this is a very large organization, and so they the article authors, they included this little bit about, I don't know these people, but I guess they might be important. But the idea is that some of these fraternities do kind of represent, the alumni represent people who have been through these fraternities and then they've become famous or very wealthy or somehow successful. So it's alumni, so the people who used to be in the fraternity, include Titans. So like Titan is a really big person. So it just means like somebody who has done very well on Wall Street, Titan, like a giant. And then this Texas oil man. So an oil man is a guy who works in oil, in the oil industry, but he turned investor. So he first started out in the oil, and then he became an investor, and then these other hedge fund managers. The organization has repeatedly said it has zero tolerance for hazing, and noted yesterday that pledging was adopted only after World War II. SAE was founded in 1856 at the University of Alabama at Tuscaloosa. In a statement to members, SAE's national headquarters said college students will still be attracted to the fraternity once we get rid of pledging. Chapter leaders complained that damage to the fraternity's national reputation has made it difficult to operate. All right. Raphael?
The organization has repeatedly said that it has zero tolerance for hazing and noted yesterday that pledging was adopted only after World War II. SAE was founded in 1856 at University of Alabama at Tuscaloosa. In a statement of members, SAE's national headquarters said college students will still be attracted to the fraternity once we get rid of pledging. Chapter leaders complained that damage to the fraternity's national reputation has made it difficult to operate.
Okay, so zero tolerance means no tolerance. So here in the U.S., whenever like schools or something like that, they say we have zero tolerance for violence or weapons or drinking. That means you'll get in trouble even if you do just a little bit. So they have zero tolerance. You're not supposed to do it at all. So that's what they say now. And they noted. So when you note something, it means like you say. Additionally, you want somebody to know something, so you note it. You say, And by the way, pledging was adopted. So it only started after World War II, even though it was founded much earlier. So it's not something that has been going on for the whole time that the fraternities have existed. It's something new which started after World War II. So in a statement is something an organization puts out, in this case to its members. The headquarters, which is like the main office where the bosses work and where they make all of the rules and things like that for the organization. They're saying, people are going to be attracted. So if you are attracted to something, it means you want that or you like it. And so people will still be, young men going to college, will be attracted to the fraternity. That means they still will want to go to the fraternity, live in the fraternity house, even if there is no more pledging. Even if we get rid of, so to get rid of something means to eliminate it, to abolish it, to ban it, that kind of thing. They're no longer going to do that. Chapter leaders complained. So when you complain, you're talking about something that is not good. You're complaining about it. And they're complaining about the damage. So their reputation was damaged because of the deaths and all of the violent, secret rituals that they were happening. So it's made them difficult to operate. So each fraternity house has to run or manage themselves, so it makes it harder to operate if you don't have enough members, because of course the members are paying for the house, for paying all the expenses and that kind of stuff. We have experienced a number of incidents and deaths, according to the statement, which SAE posted on its website. And they're quoting it. We have endured a painful number of chapter closings as a result of hazing. Research shows that hazing, which hides in the dark, causes members to lie. Parent speechless. Students who accept an offer to join will have 96 hours to complete a safety program named after Carson Starkey, a freshman who died of alcohol poisoning in 2008 during an SAE hazing at California Polytech State University in San Luis Obispo. Starkey's parents said SAE's move will save lives. Okay, Walla.
Okay, we have experienced a number of incidents and deaths, according to the statement, which SAE posted on its website. We have endured a painful number of chapter closing as a result of hazing. Research shows that hazing, which hides in the dark, causes members to lie. Parent speechless. Students who accept an offer to join will have 96 hours to complete a safety program named after Carson Starkey, a freshman who died of alcohol poisoning in 2008 during an SAE hazing at California Polytechnic State University in San Luis Obispo. Starkey's parents said SAE move will save lives.
Good. Okay, so we have experienced a number of incidents. So those are kind of like events, things that are happening that were bad. Usually you say the incident, you're meaning something that's kind of negative. And of course the deaths. We have endured a painful. So to endure, when you use that word to endure, it means like you've managed to live through something painful. So it's like you had to put up with it. So they have endured a painful, that's what they use the word there, painful closing. So a lot of their houses, that means the houses at the different universities were closed by the university due to hazing or as a result of. So that's a good phrase to remember, as a result of, so because of the hazing. And of course the hazing, when they do it, it's usually hidden in the dark. They don't talk about it. It's not something that you know is really happening until something bad happens and then it comes out in the paper or something. And it can cause members, you know, fraternity members to lie about it because it's not something that usually is very nice. It's a negative, violent type of thing, which is crazy to me. So nowadays, the way it's going to work is if a student gets offered an invitation to join the fraternity, they have 96 hours, and in that time period they have to complete, which means they have to finish a program, and it's in the name of, or it's named after this young man who died of alcohol poisoning. So that's during the hazing. They probably made him drink a lot, and then he actually ended up dying. So his parents said that this move, so the move means the thing that they just did, so this action will save lives. So, you know, won't happen to their son. What happened to their son won't happen again. We are almost speechless, his mother Julia said in an interview. It's a much safer environment. The students won't have to go through harmful traditions. All right, let's just do a little bit at a time now. Kako, you can read that part there.
We are almost speechless, his mother, Julia, said in an interview. It's a much safer environment. The students won't have to go through harmful traditions.
Good, thanks. So they're speechless. If you're speechless, it's like you don't know what to say. You're kind of shocked. And so they're kind of shocked that they're actually doing this, but it is a good thing. The reason why they're shocked is because it has been going on for so long, and now finally somebody is taking steps to stop it. So of course it will be a safer environment for the young people, and the students won't have to go through. So that's a phrasal verb. To go through something means to experience it. So these students won't have to experience this harmful tradition of hazing. This harmful means, you know, it will hurt you, and the tradition is just something that you've been doing for a long time. Brad Snyder, an SAE member at Eastern Illinois University in Charleston, opposed the change, even though he said it will make chapters safer. Without an 8 to 12 week pledge period, he and his fraternity brothers won't have enough time to decide whether a recruit is worthy of being admitted, he said. Okay, Emmanuel?
Okay. Brad Schneider, an SAE member at the Eastern Illinois University in Charleston, opposed the change even though he said it will make chapters safer. Without an 8 to 12-week pledge period, he and his fraternity brothers won't have enough time to decide whether a recruit is worthy of being admitted, he said.
Okay. So not everybody is in agreement. So this guy opposed, which means he disagrees. He's in opposition to the new rules. He is concerned because he believes that even though it will be safer, so yes, he admits it will make chapters safer, without the pledge period, so that's this time period of 2 to 3 months, when you're testing, you're kind of testing these new people. He thinks that the fraternity brothers, that's what they call themselves, brothers, fraternity brothers, they won't have enough time to decide whether or not a recruit, so a new student, is worthy. Like, do they belong in our group? We should admit them. So usually, doing that was a time period to make sure it was a good fit for the new people into the organization. It only takes one member to bring down the entire organization, said Snyder 20, a junior, who served as a pledge educator and now teaches members SAE rituals. For all we know, they may fail at their grades, and we hold grades to a very high standard. They may be socially awkward or extremely rude or disrespectful, and that will come back to us. Okay, Jorge.
Okay. It only takes one member to bring down the entire organization, says Snyder, 20, a junior who served as a pledge educator and now teach members SAE rituals. For all we know, they may fail at their grades, and we hold grades to a very high standard. They may be socially awkward or extremely rude or disrespectful, and that will come back to us.
Good. So it only takes one member to bring down the entire organization. So to bring down means to make it not so good. Not necessarily to destroy it. It could to bring down could mean to destroy, or to end. Like if you bring down a government or something, like the protests brought down the government, it means it ended the government. But in this case, he just means it's going to make them not so good. So the entire organization, the whole chapter, or even the whole SAE fraternity. He just thinks that you need time to know who these people really are. And so he gives some examples. For all we know, they may fail at their grades, so not good grades. And so he says we hold grades to a very high standard. So that means we think grades are important. They might be socially awkward. So in social settings, they might be strange or weird or awkward or say things, that are different than the fraternity, whatever their values are, what they represent. They could be extremely rude. So extremely here means very or really rude, or disrespectful, so not being respectful to other people. And then he says, and that will come back to us. So that means that it's going to hurt us. If we have members that we don't know very well and they turn out to be like this, that is going to be bad for us. It's going to come back to us. It's going to affect us in a negative way. Culture change. A few fraternities have already abolished pledging. Sigma Phi Epsilon did so in the 1990s, so that's a different organization, as part of a broader change emphasizing member education and training. The move made chapters safer and boosted student grades, officials said. Okay, Lucas.
A few fraternities have already abolished pledging. Sigma Phi Epsilon did so in the 90s as a part of a broader change, emphasizing.
Yep. Emphasizing. That's
em-
right.
emphasizing.
You put an F sound here actually. Emphasizing. Yeah.
Okay, emphasizing.
Yeah.
Member education and training. The move made chapters safer and boosted student grades, officials said.
So here again, abolished. So people, this fraternity, other fraternities have already abolished. So they've already banned or stopped the pledging. And they give you an example here. They did so, or they did this, they abolished it as a part of a broader change. So a broader means like wider or bigger type of change, emphasizing. So to emphasize means that's where they put the emphasis, or that's where they put the focus. So they're more interested in educating their members and training them, which helped them to boost student grades. To boost something means help them get better. So they helped the students get better grades. When you switch from the pledging model to this other concept where everyone is equal, you are basically changing the culture, Thomas Jelke, a member of its board of directors, said in a telephone interview yesterday. You're saying certain behavior is no longer acceptable. Okay, Mario?
Yeah. Okay. When you switch from the pledging model to this other concept, where everyone is equal, you're basically changing the culture. Thomas Jelke, a member of its board of directors, said in a telephone interview yesterday, "You're saying certain behavior is no longer acceptable."
So they're changing the culture. They're going from this pledging model to another concept or different idea of how to get new people into the fraternity. And of course, you're telling the students that this is no longer acceptable, this behavior, the hazing, the pledging, all of those things, it's not acceptable anymore. So no longer means anymore. You cannot do this. We will not allow you to do it. Richmond, Virginia-based Sigma Phi Epsilon with 15,000 members eliminated pledging partly because dangerous incidents were threatening the fraternity, Jelke said. The move by SAE may spur others to follow, he said. I believe it's a game changer, Jelke said. Game changer. Okay, Raphael?
Richmond, Virginia-based Sigma Phi Epsilon, with 15,000 members, eliminated pledging partly because dangerous incidents were threatening the fraternity, Jelke said. The move by SAE may spur others to follow, he said. I believe it's a game changer, Jelke said.
So again, the incidents are the events that were happening, and they were threatening the fraternity. That means they were hurting. You know, it was going to be possible that they might have to be closed down or something. So threatening means it was going to maybe hurt them. And again, the word spur. It may encourage or spur others to follow, to do the same thing. A game changer. If something is described as a game changer, when it's actually making a significant difference. So this will change the game of how fraternities work. Universities may now put pressure on other fraternities to stop pledging, said Mark Kopsell, Executive Director of the Association of Fraternity Sorority Advisors at Fort Collins, Colorado Professional Group, representing administrators overseeing Greek life. Fraternities will have to make sure that older students don't haze new members even without a pledge period, he said. SAE has recognized a large problem within their organization, Kopsell said. They have made a bold step. Okay, Walla, why don't you finish up there for us?
Universities may now put pressure on other fraternities to stop pledging, said Mark. Kopisel, Executive Director of the Association of Fraternities Sorority Advisors, a Fort Collins, Colorado professional group representing administrations overseeing Greek life. Fraternities will have to make sure that older students don't haze new members even without a pledge period, he said. SAE has recognized a large problem within their organization. Koppel said they have made a bold step.
Yeah, there you go. Bold step. Yeah, not blood anymore. No more blood. Okay, so to put pressure on somebody just means like to kind of make them do something. You're putting pressure. You're saying, come on, guys, let's change. We need to change. And so people feel like, okay, we really need to do this. So you're putting pressure on them to try to get them to change or to do something differently. So maybe this will work to help other fraternities stop pledging. The administrators, those are like the managers and stuff who oversee Greek life. So this organization is kind of they advise the fraternities and the sororities. That's the Greek life. Has nothing to do with Greece. It's kind of a funny thing. But yes, and a bold step. So it's an important step. It's a good step, and bold is describing like they're taking action that maybe other people aren't willing to do yet, but they're courageous enough to do it. So does anybody want to comment on this before we end? We used up most of our time, but what do you guys think of this thing that Americans do? Yeah, Raphael?
Just a little question. Who be responsible for supervise these universities, these people? And who are they going to put? The police or maybe
the police? Yeah, because it's not related to the university. It's its own organization, and they own houses next to universities. And so all of the students that live in the fraternity go to specific universities, but it doesn't have anything to do with the actual university. You know, they're just kind of in the neighborhoods nearby the universities, and so they live there. That's where the fraternity happens. So it's a separate organization, and so they organize themselves, and so they were supposed to be policing themselves, like as members. You're supposed to set rules and stuff, and so that's why now they are. But before that, nobody was really controlling them except for if somebody called the police or something like that. Yeah. Interesting. Because it doesn't have anything to do with the universities. Yeah.
I'm a little skeptical about this, but okay, let's wait and see.
Yeah, let's see if it happens, right? Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Did you guys know about this kind of stuff before? Have you heard about this? You see movies or something? Mario?
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yes.
Yeah. It doesn't happen in France, does it?
No, I don't think so.
No. Yeah, it's kind of a weird
Crazy,
thing. Yeah.
Weird.
It's kind of you can use the phrase maybe like over the top. It's like too much. They went too far. You know, maybe if you did something that was kind of fun and challenging for the guys, you know, guys like challenges, show how strong they are or show how smart they are or something, but to hurt them or to do things that are harmful, that's just too much. Yeah. Yeah, so now they're learning their lesson. Unfortunately, people had to die first, but yeah.
I saw these before in movies.
Yeah, in movies.
But I don't understand the idea. I don't know if they are organized like this. So you always have interesting topic. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I thought it was interesting. It's not like everybody goes into a fraternity. It's a select kind of group of people who want to do this, but it's pretty big on campus. They're kind of a big big group of people, lots of parties at those places, that kind of stuff, so yeah, it's an interesting group of people. I did not belong to a sorority, so I wasn't in that, and some universities don't have them at all, so it just depends on where you go. Yeah. Okay, guys, thanks for coming to class and reading, and hopefully you learned a bunch of new words.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
on. And if you want to take the class, then you can just click on the Join Class button if you're a member. If you're not a member, then you can watch the class live, or you can join Verbling.com, and then that way you get to take as many classes as you want. So this is going to be a reading class, and I chose an article today. Let's see, I forgot where I got this article from, but it's on Bloomberg, yes. Bloomberg.com is a pretty popular website, especially for business people, but they talk about lots of different things. So this is an interesting one in terms of a United States cultural topic, because I'm not sure that it happens in other countries, so it's definitely specific to the United States and the life of people in college. So if everybody wants to go there, I'll put it in the screen share so we can be looking at it together, because I want to talk a little bit about it before we start. And I'm just going to say hi to everybody. Hi, Walla. It's in the middle of California, so compared to where I live now, which is in Washington, California is very sunny and pretty warm. It's in the 70s, which is like in the 20s, like 24, I think, or so. 23, 24, 25 Celsius. So that's pretty warm compared to, up in Washington right now. So I'm enjoying the sun. And my kids, they went swimming yesterday in the pool, so that was kind of crazy. But it was not warm in the pool, but they were enjoying themselves. They went between the pool and the hot tub. So that's good. And Jorge, is your microphone working now? Let's see.
I don't know, tell me you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, good. It didn't work during the last class.
Yeah, it's my second day in Verbling, and I am still learning how it works.
Okay, yeah, good. Well, welcome to the reading class now. And Emmanuel, how are you doing? Hi, everybody. Welcome to another hour here on Verbling.com of English classes. In this hour, we're going to be doing a reading class, and I put the link up already in the in the Verbling chat, and so I will put it also in the group chat when people start joining. If you want to join this class, hi, Lucas. If you want to join this class, then you just click on the Join Class button. Hi there. Welcome. If you are a member of Verbling.com, you can always make a reservation for a class. Otherwise, if you don't make a reservation, then you can just show up to Verbling.com anytime and see what's happening and see if you want to take the class that is going on currently, or if you want to plan for one in the future. You can always look at the schedule. When you go to the classes page, you see what's happening live. So this is the class that's happening live right now. I think there's a Spanish class also going.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Fine, thanks.
Good, welcome. And hey, Rafael, how are you doing?
Hi, Liz, I'm fine, thank you, and you?
Good. Did you go running today?
Yes.
All right. Good job.
Thanks.
Okay, and Mario.
Hi, Lisa.
Bonjour. Salut.
Bonjour, Lisa. Ça va bien?
Oui, ça va, merci. Okay, long time no see.
Long time no see, yes.
Yes.
Yes,
you're
good
back.
to see.
Maybe
yeah, I'm back.
Good. All right, welcome. And Lucas, hi, Lucas.
Hello, Lisa.
Have you had a good weekend?
Yes. And you?
Yes, good. I came to California. People were commenting because I'll show you. I'll put my picture back on because I have a new surrounding, and people noticed it in the last class, and it's because I'm at my mom's house, and she lives where I'm from, which is in Fresno, California, and that's.
Hello, teacher.
Hi.
Yep.
Emmanuel,
I'm fine. I'm ready to start.
Awesome. Where are you calling from?
I'm from Italy, but I live in the Netherlands.
Oh, okay. Do you live there for working or studying or something?
Studying. I'm a student.
Oh, cool. What are you studying there?
Music.
Music. Okay,
Yeah.
well you can tell us if this type of thing happens in the Netherlands.
I don't
what we're
think
going
so.
to read about. I don't
I
think
think
so.
it's typical American.
Yes, it is.
American college.
Yes. Okay, and hi Kako. How are you? Kako, are you there?
Yes,
Hi there.
Lisa.
Hi there. Hi.
I'm fine. And you?
Good. I am doing well. Thank you. Okay, guys. We do have a couple of spaces open if anybody's out there in Verbling land watching and wants to join us. You can just click on the Join Class button and then click on the Verbling chat.